What if I told you the Boston Red Sox are on a 14-game winning streak after being one of the worst teams in the American League? And at one point, they were 11 games under 500. And now, after July 20th, the Red Sox are 3 games above 500. They're in a wild card position, and they're playing the best baseball of their entire season. And what if I told you they're doing this without Garrett Crochet and Roman Anthony? Yes, it's been a crazy roller coaster season for the 2026 Boston Red Sox. Just like they did last year in 2025, the Boston Red Sox are on a miraculous winning streak. They're on one of the biggest winning streaks of their entire history, and somehow we're here right now. I'm recording this right after Caleb Durbin hit an 8th hitting solo home run to secure the Red Sox 14th win in a row against the Baltimore Orioles, and I'm just in shock. Not only the Red Sox are on a 14-game winning streak as of my recording, they've also won 18 of 20 of their last games. So in this video, I will be explaining how the Red Sox turned their season around overnight, how they went from one of the worst teams in MLB, and at one point they were the worst team in MLB, to a playoff team and the hottest team in the entire MLB. And I'll start off firstly with Willson Contreras, who has been the MVP for the Red Sox this season. Even when the Red Sox were at their worst in the months of May and the months of June, Willson Contreras has been the best and most consistent hitter in this Red Sox lineup. And he's been exactly what the Red Sox paid for when they traded him from the Cardinals in this year's offseason. It's crazy to think that Willson Contreras was only traded for what? He was traded for Richard Fitts, who was a back-end starter for the Red Sox last year, and Brandon Clark, who I'm not too sure what he's been doing with the Cardinals right now, but when he was with the Red Sox, he was a 21-year-old pitching in high A, and he had no signs of cracking this Red Sox rotation anytime soon. It's crazy how great this deal has turned out for the Red Sox. But yeah, Willson Contreras throughout the season, he's been a 900 OPS type of guy. He's been a monster when it comes to producing RBIs, creating these clutch hitting situations, and he's been exactly what the Red Sox have paid for. The Red Sox have been looking for an established first baseman for a long time. It's been a revolving door at first base since Tristan Casas has been on the IL for the last 2 or 3 years. We've seen Abraham Torres have to step up. We've seen Nathaniel Lowe last year have to play first base. And it's just, there's been a lack of consistent hitting at first base. And thankfully, it's changed this season with Willson Contreras. Look at his underlying metrics. Look at his baseball savant page. It's been really great. I know when this deal initially happened during the offseason, a lot of Red Sox fans were mad that they didn't get Pete Alonso, who's also been having a really good season. But if you look at both of their stats, it's been relatively the same numbers, albeit Willson Contreras has been producing more RBIs. He has the higher OPS. But all in all, it's been very similar, both offensively and defensively. Considering the Red Sox didn't have to pay the amount of money that Pete Alonso's making right now with the Baltimore Orioles. And not to mention, Willson Contreras, I'm pretty sure he's getting paid $20 million less. I believe the Cardinals are eating $20 million in that deal. From a Moneyball standpoint, considering where the Red Sox are right now, this deal has worked out so well for this team. I know it's been a turbulent season for Contreras. I mean, like it is for a bunch of Red Sox players this season. A lot of highs, a lot of lows. And we've seen that in the quotes from Contreras. He's had some issues with the younger players at times. He's just voiced his expressions on the field about his frustrations just playing right now, especially when the Red Sox weren't doing well. But over the All-Star break, we got to really see that Willson Contreras really enjoys being in Boston. And he said in quotes that he wants to retire as a Red Sox, and he's not willing to waive his no-trade option, which is music to my ears, and I'm sure music to other Red Sox fans out there, because I definitely want to keep him, and I'm sure other Red Sox fans want to keep him as well. So yeah, the Willson Contreras experiment has been wonderful for the Red Sox so far, and yeah, he's been the most valuable player for Boston this season, and I definitely think he could end up being a top 3 MVP candidate when it's all said and done this season. So gotta shout out Willson Contreras as my first honorable mention, I guess. And the second player I also have to shout out is another player that was traded from the St. Louis Cardinals this offseason. that being Sonny Gray. In my opinion, and I'm sure a lot of people also believe this as well, but Sonny Gray was the biggest snub in this year's All-Star game. I guess you can also include Zach Wheeler, but when it comes to players actually getting an invitation to this year's All-Star game, Sonny Gray never got that. I know wins and losses aren't a stat that you should mention when it comes to MLB pitchers, but Sonny Gray only has one loss this season. Mind you, the Red Sox at one point were 11 games under 500. A pitcher that at one point had, he's at 12 wins this year, a 12-1 record for a team at one point that was 11 games under 500. That's just insane. It's been insane what Sonny Gray's been doing this season for the Red Sox. His fastball win rate has been really great this season, along with just his win rate in general. This basically means that his fastballs, when he's using that in real game, it's been his most efficient pitches. That combination of his four seam, his cutter, his sinker, it's all working incredibly well for him right now. Not to mention, in my opinion, his sweeper has been his best pitch this season. He's throwing that the second most in his repertoire, and it's resulted in a 114 batting average for any single hitter against him right now. So he's been doing incredible with his 5 or 6 pitch mix. It's been really doing numbers. Along with that, his strikeout rates are pretty well. I know he's not necessarily a strikeout guy, but if you look at his Baseball Savant page, you're going to see a lot of red. You're going to see things such as, again, as I mentioned before, his fastball win rate's looking really good. His win rate in general is looking really good. Ground ball rate, all those things are looking really great to him. And so, yeah, Sonny Gray, he's been a huge part as to why this Red Sox rotation has been really good. And he has to be the second guy I have to mention in this video. Not to mention, too, I also have to give a lot of credit to Ranger Suarez, who's also been a very successful pitcher in the same kind of realm as Sonny Gray, but I guess to a much larger extent. Another guy where his fastball win rate has been incredible, and in general his win rate's been incredible as well. Ranger Suarez has lived up to his money so far. When I first saw this contract for the Red Sox, and let's be honest, let's call a spade, this money was originally going to go to Alex Bregman, and the Red Sox turned around, signed Ranger Suarez, and it's been working tremendously for this team right now. In his first season with the Red Sox, he's an all-star, has an ERA hovering around 3, and he's just been a soft contact king for this Red Sox team. His ground ball rate, his exit velocity, those are his biggest things that he's contributed to all of baseball right now. That sinker, it comes in slow, and it's resulted in soft contact, ground balls, weak fly balls, and it's been great for them so far. So yeah, shout out Ranger Suarez. Again, another guy. That pitch mix has been working really well for him right now. And yeah, this rotation is so solidified. As of so far this season, Ranger Suarez is considered the ace for this team. And he stepped in so well. In general, this pitching rotation has been stepping in so well, picking up the load for Garrett Crochet, who hasn't pitched since, May? Got to give a shout out to this pitching rotation. And I can't mention this pitching rotation without Peyton Tolwe, who not only is just a great clubhouse guy for this team, we've seen clips over in spring training of him just, giving these laughs to the clubhouse and all these fun antics on and off the field. He's a great clubhouse guy. He's just a great dude in general. I don't know him, but it seems like that's the case for him. And not only is he a great clubhouse guy, but he's been a key piece to this rotation as well. When it comes to his complete pitch mix, it hasn't necessarily materialized just yet. He still has a lot of things to work on. But what if I told you his four-seam fastball is one of the best in Major League Baseball, especially when it comes to left-handed pitchers? Peyton Tolwe's a big dude, and he throws his fastball extremely fast. It usually tops in at 97 miles per hour. It's been consistent when it comes to just getting strikeouts, getting swings and misses, and things like that. So yeah, Peyton Tolwe's fastball has been incredible this year, and it's been a major reason to his success so far on the mound. I know his, ERA hasn't looked great. It's a 3 ERA for a guy who's a rookie right now. 5-6 record, whatever. It hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows so far for him. But as a rookie pitcher who originally started in Worcester this season, it's been incredible. Tolwe hasn't skipped a beat. And it's crazy to think that this dude isn't in Rookie of the Year conversations in the American League. Last time I checked, I think he's 8th or 9th in voting, which I find insane. This dude should be at least 5th or 6th in my opinion. He definitely should be in that conversation, especially if he's going to pitch as great as he is right now. So again, shout out Pantoli. He's the third guy, or I guess the fourth guy I have to mention. But yeah, this pitching staff in general has been incredible. Another guy I also have to mention is Jake Bennett, who seemingly came out of nowhere. He got called up during the Brian Bayo drama where Bayo made it clear that he wants to stay a starter and he's not going to change that. And the Red Sox said, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're sending Brian Bayo down to the minors, and they called up Jake Bennett. Again, his pitch mix, I haven't really watched him on the mound as much as compared to the other guys that I've mentioned, but he's throwing his sinker really well. He has this great mix of a sinker, changeup, slider, that type of thing. Yeah, the Red Sox wouldn't be having the success had Jake Bennett not stepped in and pitched tremendously. So he's another guy I have to mention. Just in general, this starting rotation has been one of the best in baseball. And even when this team wasn't, getting wins early on in the season, even when this team was scoring 0, 1, 2 type of games when it comes to runs, this rotation has been consistent. This rotation has been, the reason for the success. It's been the baseline for the success. And yeah, I feel like this has been the most important piece to the Red Sox turning their season around, because this rotation has been here this entire time. And I have to give a big shout out to Andrew Bailey. Early on in the season, the Red Sox cut bait with their entire coaching staff, and the only guy they really kept around was Andrew Bailey, and he's lived up to those expectations. Yeah, shout out Andrew Bailey. He's been incredible this year. And yeah, just shout out to this pitching staff in general. Other guys, Aroldis Chapman is doing his thing. Garrett Whitlock's doing his thing. They've been a great 8th and 9th inning 1-2 punch. And yeah, man, this rotation has been incredible. And the back end bullpen has been great as well. Shifting back over to the hitting side, the next guy I want to mention is Caleb Durbin. 2 months ago, this guy was the most hated man in baseball. Basically was the guy that replaced Rafael Devers at third base. He's basically a part of the Devers trade, considering he was traded for Andrew Harrison, along with a few other guys. It was a big deal. And at the beginning of the season, Caleb Durbin did not provide anything for this Red Sox team. I guess the only thing was his glove, but besides that, his hitting was non-existent. At one point, this dude was batting in the 400s when it came to OPS. This was probably the end of May, roughly around this time. There was a stretch where he was benched for multiple games at a time. And then around this time, Caleb Durbin was recommended by Carlos Narvaez to go to his independent hitting coach in Waltham, and that's when his season got turned around. You can see on his Baseball Savant page, I want to say starting around late May, when Caleb Durbin's OPS was at his worst. And then you see right away his OPS starting to improve during the time in which he started going to this independent hitting coach. I don't know exactly the specifics of how he's been, changing when it comes to his stance and things like that. I believe what's changed the most is his head movement and things like that. But regardless of what's happening, regardless of the mechanical side and things like that, it's worked, because Caleb Durbin had an incredible month of June where he hit in the OPSs of 900. Now that Caleb Durbin has been a key piece in that Red Sox starting rotation, it's unlocked the rest of this Red Sox lineup. Obviously, when Caleb Durbin first came over to the Red Sox, he wasn't known as this power hitting third baseman. I mean, obviously, he's not this traditional third baseman. What he is great at is fielding the ball at third base and just getting contact and getting, balls put in play. That's his bread and butter. And he's starting to look like himself when he was with the Brewers last year. One thing I have to mention, and one thing I can't leave without this video, is the Red Sox defense. First off, gotta mention Caleb Durbin at third base. As of recording this video, he is first or second in outs above average at third base. He's neck and neck with Jose Ramirez when it comes to that. Either one of these players is going to win Gold Glove at that position. Not to mention, there's going to be probably 2 or 3 more players on the Red Sox that are likely going to win Gold Glove by the end of the season. I'm talking about Ceddanne Rafaela, and I'm talking about Wilyer Abreu. Honestly, both of these guys are the best defensive players at their position. Quite frankly, I can honestly see Ceddanne Rafaela winning the Platinum Glove by the end of the season. The fact that this dude can play shortstop, he can play second base, and he can play center field, which is one of the hardest positions to play in all of baseball at an elite level. It's just crazy. He's one of one when it comes to just being a defensive player. And yeah, I gotta give my flowers to Ceddanne Rafaela. The Baseball and Savant page says that too. The outs above average says that too. And it also says the same thing for Wilyer Abreu, who is the best defensive right fielder in the game. It's his third full season in MLB, and this dude is on pace to win his third Gold Glove. You know, there's Baseball Savant pages. When it comes to defense, it's practically identical. And it's been a huge reason as to why the Red Sox are finding a lot of success too. Over the last few years, when it comes to the Red Sox, this team has struggled defensively. But regardless, the defense just as a whole, it's been a lot better. Obviously in the outfield, it's been a huge piece to it, but also having Caleb Durbin at third base, it's also been a key difference. I also have to mention Jarren Duran in this conversation too, who's also one of the higher left fielders when it comes to outs above average as well. I know at the plate, it's been very shaky. His batting average is hovering around the Mendoza line. It's not been a great season for Duran, but at least in the outfield, specifically in left field, he's been contributing. At least he's been a usable piece. We'll see what happens with Jarren Duran by the end of the trade deadline. It hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows for him, especially with the media. He's been going after a Boston media guy right now. Jarren Duran antics, but I'm going to leave that out of it. That's not the point of this video. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Jarren Duran. We'll see if he ends up staying with the Red Sox. We'll see if he ends up getting traded. But as of right now, his fielding's been really great, and he's provided clutch hitting for the Red Sox. So yeah, I mean, I have to mention Jarren Duran in some aspect because he's definitely contributed to that fielding. But as a whole, it's still up in the air. We don't know exactly what's going to go on these next 2 to 3 weeks, but that's the Jarren Duran experience for you, I guess. Other guys I also have to mention, definitely guys that are flying under the radar for this team right now. And those two guys that I'm talking about in particular are their middle infielders right now. Su-Sang Chen, I might be butchering that name, sue me, but he's been playing tremendously at shortstop since he's been called up. And I also have to talk about Anthony Siegler. It's crazy going into this season. The Red Sox started off with Trevor Story at shortstop and Marcelo Meyer at second base. And now both these guys are on the IL, and we have Chang and Siegler playing the middle infield. And it's crazy to think that this team is on one of the best runs in their franchise history, with two guys who have barely spent time in the MLB. I'll talk about Anthony Siegler first because I feel like his story and I feel like his impact with this Red Sox team has really gone under the radar. I don't really want to talk about the stats because it's not necessarily right there. If I showed you the stats, it wouldn't really tell you the full picture of Siegler's impact for this team. So I'll start off with a little anecdote about this dude. At the beginning of the Yankees series, this is the first game of their series against the Yankees in Fenway. Siegler just gets called up. I believe he just gets called up in the midst of the Colorado Rockies series. He replaces Marcelo Meyer. And also, he could have been his first game with the Red Sox since being called up. The Red Sox, their NESN broadcast, interviews Siegler. The Red Sox are on the worst stretch of their entire career. This is at a point where no fan believed in this team whatsoever. And Siegler hops on the mic and just delivers this positive, just happy-go-lucky interview quote. If I can find it, I'll definitely include it into this video. There should be no reason to be happy when it comes to this team. And yet Siegler adds this positivity. I don't know if he did anything impactful in that first game, but ever since he's been starting at second base, he's been a key contributor to this team. He's been batting leadoff. He's provided some clutch home runs for this team. And not to mention his defense at second base, along with Chang. It's worked for this team. It's been a huge reason as to why their defense has been really great for them. Siegler's been really in his element. He just seems like a great clubhouse guy for this team. He provides a lot of positivity. If you've ever watched a Red Sox game, he adds like this enthusiasm, especially as a person, as a Red Sox fan who's been watching this team. You see that impact in the clubhouse. And especially during the time in which the Red Sox were one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in all of baseball. You need those guys in the clubhouse, and Siegler has provided that. So shout out Siegler. His impact shouldn't go unnoticed, and it's been a key underrated reason for them. Not to mention his OPS is hovering inside the 700s. So he hasn't been a bad player at the plate whatsoever. The stats prove that he has impact, but it goes beyond stats when it comes to this guy. And the same goes for Chang as well. A for sure fly under the radar player. He was signed in the offseason from Pittsburgh, came in, I believe he's 27 years old right now. No career MLB home runs. And I believe he has 2 or 3 right now for the Red Sox so far. And yeah, he's provided key defense for the Red Sox at shortstop too. To get the 14th win in a row, Chang made a huge leaping grab against Tyler O'Neill to secure that victory. Had he not made that play, this game would have went into extra innings. And God knows what would have happened if Chang didn't make that play. And I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the chemistry between Chang and Siegler in AAA, because these guys spent a good amount of time in AAA with each other. They just have this sort of chemistry. And both these guys bat between each other in the lineup. Chang has batted mostly in the 9th spot. And prime example, I'll mention this in the Mets game. I believe it was the second game of their series against the Mets right before the All-Star game. Chang led off the inning with a swinging bunt or a bunt, gets on base, and then the next at bat, Siegler hit a 2-run home run, and just things like that. I don't know what it is between these two, but they just have some sort of chemistry. They have some sort of feel between each other's games, and it's worked, and it's great to see between two guys who are both middle infielders. They are on the same page. They're working together tremendously, and yeah, it's resulted in wins. Who would have thought I would be talking about two guys who were in AAA at the beginning of the season, impacting a 14-game win streak? This is what makes no sense about this Red Sox team in general, because you had Marcelo Meyer to start the year. You had Trevor Story to start the year. You also had guys like Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, Andrew Monasterio. And all 4 of those guys haven't really contributed to this team whatsoever. And it's 2 other guys that were lesser name acquisitions being big contributors. How can you not be romantic about baseball? The last thing I want to mention before I end this video too is the impact of interim manager Chad Tracy. The contrast between Chad Tracy and Alex Cora is a night and day difference. Now, I'm not going to try to throw shade at Alex Cora, because I believe he is a good manager. I believe he is an impactful manager. He'll have another chance in the MLB with another team. I definitely believe that. Alex Cora's philosophy, to break it down, to put it in a nutshell, I don't think Alex Cora's philosophies as a manager correlates with the front office. Obviously, the Red Sox are still in a moneyball approach. They're trying to save money right now, and it didn't work with Alex Cora. But it's worked tremendously with Chad Tracy so far. He's called up a lot of the top prospects for the Red Sox, so there's a lot of familiarity with a lot of the players in the lineup, and I think it's definitely worked out. This sounds so stupid, but the reason why, a huge reason as to why the Red Sox are having a lot of success right now, is because Chad Tracy is willing to steal bases and he's willing to have players bunt. And we've seen that with players like Chang. We've seen that with players like Connor Wong. Connor Wong was terrible last year, and he's been an impactful player for the Red Sox because he's a great bunter. He's a great pinch runner. He's a great catcher as well when it comes to defense. And I feel like Chad Tracy has unlocked that. The Red Sox have these gritty utility players that are willing to do what is asked of them. For instance, dropping down a bunt to move a player into scoring position, steal bases to get runners in scoring position. It's been something the Red Sox have lacked over this season, especially if you watch this team in years previous under Alex Cora. I feel like it's gone acknowledged, and yet Chad Tracy has just unlocked a simple element of baseball that the Red Sox have lacked. So if the Red Sox do continue to build off this momentum, if they do end up becoming a playoff team, I think for sure he should end up becoming the full-time manager for this team. At one point during when this team was under 500, his win-loss percentage was higher. It was a positive win-loss percentage. So who would have thought that this team is doing what they're doing? I can't completely wrap my head around it, but those are the stats. Those are the perspective of a Red Sox fan who's watched a majority of the season for the Red Sox so far, the ups and the downs, basically just boiling it down all into a video. I hope you guys can understand how this team has completely done it, because I'm still wrapping my head around it. But yeah, we'll see how this Red Sox team turns things around. We'll see what they do during the trade deadline. As of right now, this team is going to be a buyer, and they're a playoff team right now. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be making more Boston Red Sox content as the season progresses. We'll see how the rest of July turns out for the Red Sox. And yeah, it's been an incredible ride right now.